Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu says his administration will ensure that cocoa production remains stable and is sustained in the state. The governor stated this at the distribution of 1 million cocoa seedlings and farm inputs to 150,000 cocoa farmers in Ondo and Osun State that has an election this weekend by John Vence Cocoa Processing Factory located in Akure. So how can cocoa production in Nigeria be maintained and increased? Joining us to answer that question is John Alamu, who's the Group Managing Director, Capital Sage Holdings and MD of John Vence Industries. Good morning, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. So why is cocoa output higher in Ondo State than other cocoa producing states in Nigeria?
Thank you. Good morning, and it's nice to be here. It's actually hard to pinpoint one thing really, but you should know about cocoa is that it's a tropical plant requiring certain temperate area to blossom. That's why it's predominantly produced in the southern states of Nigeria within lots of rainforest areas. Yes, the latest 2020 stats shows Ondo remains the highest producer, followed by Osun, Calabar, Ekiti, amongst others. I know firsthand that the government of Ondo State is very intentional about consistently improving the quality of cocoa production in the state. This has led to the certification of the Ondo State Cocoa Revolution Agency to help realize the production potential of cocoa in Ondo State.
All right, so is distribution of seedlings and inputs to farmers the best method to increase output?
What we need to understand about sustainable cocoa is that it's not just about the quantity of seedlings that you give to farmers. It's actually about the quality of cocoa produced and the best practices involved in increasing output of globally certified cocoa. There are lots of cocoa trees that have been planted for so many years, and they are diminishing in quality and quantity. At John Vence, we saw a need to empower farmers with quality, early-bearing seedlings, the right agrochemicals, and most importantly, train farmers on sustainable agricultural practices. These seedlings, inputs, trainings we provide for the cocoa farmers are essential for rehabilitation, regeneration, and replanting cocoa trees with in line with the Rainfall Alliance Sustainable Agricultural Standard RA 2020. This ensures the improvement of farmer livelihoods by boosting production of cocoa, protection of the rights of the farm workers and their families, avoiding the destruction of nature and biodiversity, and mitigating the consequences of climate change.
Sounds great. What potential do the other cocoa producing states in Nigeria have in terms of boosting output?
Cocoa producing states have great potentials when it comes to boosting production output. I must say that John Vence 150,000 cocoa farmer project is a medium-term project spanning over 5 years, and already the spread is beyond Ondo State. The first pilot had farmers from Ondo and Ekiti as well. This is essentially not an Ondo State project, though charity, they say, begins at home, but it's a nationwide project. The Ondo State government has given us the enabling environment and massive support to get this project going. Governor Akeredolu is a farmer and he markets Ondo State product everywhere he goes, and that includes John Vence cocoa products as well.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, but what about the other states? I mean, I understand what you're saying about Ondo State, but is what's the potential for the other states that you listed, Calabar, so on and so forth, in addition to these particular states?
We are already seeing increased support from Cross River State government to boost cocoa production in Cross River as well. And that's why today Cross River is fast chasing on those states in increased quantity and quality production. Also, our sustainability program, like I mentioned, it's targeting all these other states, including Cross River. Already we're in Ekiti, we're in Osun because of the potential that they've shown and the promise, the pledge of support that has been shown by the state government.
Okay, so is that vital? I mean, is is state support? I mean, because when we heard about this, this was an exercise that was carried out with the governor announcing this, and then I mean, you basically distributed seedlings and tools to farmers. Is government support? I mean, without it, you can't push this forward. I want to get your take on how important or critical or relevant government support is in doing this.
I mean, we cannot overemphasize the importance of government support in ensuring sustainable cocoa production in Nigeria. It's been announced that from 2025, cocoa from Nigeria, in fact from Africa, would no longer be accepted into EU. So if government does not provide land, if government does not influence policies that affect, the interests on loans to farmers, if government does not provide an enabling environment for processors who offtake this cocoa from farmers, I mean, would see a further decrease than what we currently see in cocoa production in Nigeria instead. So government support is very, very key.
All right, so, okay, I'm glad you mentioned if we don't get government support, then the numbers will fall. Speaking of numbers, cocoa exports, let's put up those figures. I think now, if we look at agricultural exports for the first quarter of this year, it was about 201, right? So this is from the Bureau of Statistics, looking at our trade figures. So that 201 figure, 58% increase versus Q4 2021, year-on-year 58% rise versus Q1 of 2021. Now, here's the key though. Cocoa made up just 36% of that figure. What's that? What's 36% of 201? I think that's 72, 73 billion, I think, in an entire quarter. I mean, that's not very high. And this is a commodity that has been, trumped up as, or rather talked up as one of our largest non-oil exports. So and you see, the reason I was building up to this, asking you about the assistance of government, because with everything you've mentioned, what Ondo State has done, what Calabar is doing, Osun and all these other states, I mean, you're bringing in only 80 billion naira in one quarter. If you annualize that, that's what, 240 billion over a full calendar year. That's not a lot. And if you look at what cocoa means to the Ivory Coast, what it means to Ghana, and the levels of production that they are, my question to you is, how do you raise that number, those export figures?
Yes, it's a big concern that Nigeria is producing quite a lot, but then when it comes to trade, we trade the raw cocoa bean. Trade of raw cocoa bean does not attract as much value as trading of processed cocoa products. So we cannot but emphasize on value addition. All right. The countries that buy cocoa from Africa, specifically Europe, they are large consumers, all right, of chocolate. So until Nigeria starts to export chocolate, until we start to export pure cocoa powder and every other cocoa product derivatives, our revenue from cocoa will not increase. And that's why John Vence is actively playing in both the semi-finished industrialization of cocoa and the finished product industrialization of cocoa. So today, you see John Vence rolling out chocolate, you see John Vence rolling out pure cocoa powder to allow to boost consumption of cocoa products nationally. Once we start consuming cocoa, it definitely would increase the price and would add value to the cocoa trade internationally. And then in the next, 2, 3, 4 years, you would see a very significant jump. Available statistics shows that selling cocoa to selling the finished goods is 1:10. So if we were selling chocolates or we're selling the processed cocoa instead of the raw cocoa bean, we would have been getting $10,000 more. $10,000 multiplied than the current billions that cocoa currently generates in Nigeria. So that's the way to go, value addition.
Okay, okay. We had the CEO of, I think it was Luscious Chocolates. They're an indigenous chocolate producer in Nigeria. They are focused on the finished product. And they spoke about the challenges in terms of that raw cocoa powder that you've mentioned that you're producing, having to still import it. Also, I guess the quality of the seeds was another issue. The exchange rates, lack of power. You just spent, I don't know, what was it? I don't know how many billion naira taking over a factory from Olam. I think it was Olam for this, this factory that you put together. What's your read on the challenges involved in getting us to be a bigger player in the finished products? Because it looks like your investment is focused more on the raw material rather than the finished product, which is even a bigger market in terms of what you just mentioned now. What is the chocolate market in Europe? Or global, 168, 170 billion, if not more. So is that, with you making more of an investment in the raw product, the raw cocoa, is that not an admission that there's just too many challenges to produce the finished product, and so you rather just focus on the raw? I mean, what's your read on that?
So actually, on the contrary, we are playing in the finished product space. All right, we are actively in the semi-finished and finished product space. But then, because what we're talking about is food, food quality is very, very important. So we don't just want to we don't just want to start by processing poor quality seedlings, poor quality beans. And that's why we have to invest in backward integration ab initio to guarantee sourcing of quality cocoa bean. All right. So the end goal is not our goal post is actually not in farmers producing, is actually in being able to offtake quality quality beans from those farmers and processing. And there's quite a lot of challenges in processing. The first challenge is power. Diesel is very expensive, and I mean, you realize that it's cheaper to process chocolate in Ghana than to process chocolate in Nigeria, and that's why I see a lot of factories running to Ghana. Um, there are quite a lot of policies that are not favorable to processing industries, and the top one is the custom fees on importing machineries. Most of the machines we use in processing are imported. If there is subsidy on the duties we pay on these machineries, I mean, you'll see an increase in post harvest and value addition in cocoa sector in Nigeria. So, and this can only be provided by the government, and that further answers your question on the role of government, all right,
Right.
in spurring cocoa processing in Nigeria.
Right. So, I mean, we're back where we started at the beginning. You praised the Ondo State government, saying that they're doing a lot to support cocoa processing and so on. You praised the Calabar State government. You praised all these other governments in the southern states where this is being produced. But now here you are listing all these challenges that the same governments you praised at the beginning of the interview would have to implement policies to allow us to be able to get to those finished goods. So, isn't that a trade-off? It's net, it's a wash, because they're not providing the proper policies that would boost semi-finished and finished cocoa production in Nigeria. Very quickly, if you can.
Yes, we must. So there's a whole lot of job to be done, and we must acknowledge what has been done thus far. We are not where we used to be in cocoa. I mean, it was worse. Before we're number one, we're the first cocoa producing country in the world. Now we are number five. And if you see the efforts of some governments, in taking us back to where we were, I think we must acknowledge that. However, this does not negate the fact that we still have a long way to go. And this is beyond just the state government level. I think this goes even to the federal level. We need investment, policies that enhance trade, all right, policies that enhance reduction in operational costs. I mean, there's a lot to be done. And this is not just to only praise the government, but to also challenge them to do more. But I would thank them for the ones that they've done already.
All right, well said. And there's an election in Osun State on Saturday. Osun is a cocoa-producing state. I said Calabar earlier. I meant Cross River State. So I guess that should probably be an election point or an item for voting for the voters in Osun State. I thank you very much, John Alamu, Group Managing Director, Capital Sage. Appreciate your time talking about cocoa production in Nigeria.